Hi everyone. So from today we were going through worksheet 3 at the Algebra 2 one, and I think I went through questions 2F and 2G quite a lot, I think with every group actually, so I thought I would just go through them here so you've got them. So 2F, this one is, what do we start with? We have y minus b plus x minus a equals 5x h squared plus 3. Now, as normal, what we wanted to be able to do is put the two x terms on the same side of the equal sign, because that will help us simplify. And I tell you, the other thing here is these brackets are a complete red herring. They're not needed at all. So taking them away doesn't change the meaning at all of the equation. Now, if that was a minus sign, then it would do, and we'd have to just be a bit careful with what we were doing here. But let's not worry about that for now. Okay, so probably the easiest thing we can do on this side is get the x over here. So if we subtract x from both sides, that means this x will move and we'll end up with minus x over here. So let's do that. Y minus b minus a, because we subtracted the x off, equals 5x h squared plus 3 minus x. And now we're going to get rid of the 3, so then we're just left with the 2x terms. So we will take off 3 from both sides. So y minus b minus a minus 3 equals 5x h squared minus x. Now if this was something relatively simple, like we might have seen before, so maybe 3x plus 2x, we just know that that would equal 5x. We could combine it. But it's not so simple here. But what we can see is that both of these terms, the 5x h squared and the x, are both multiples of x. This is 1 times x, this is 5h squared times x. So what we can do is something called factorization. Okay, so let's write this side out again here. What we can do is take an x outside of the brackets and say 5h squared minus 1. So if we multiply this out of the brackets again, we should get back exactly what we've got here. X times 5h squared is 5x h squared. X times minus 1 is minus x. Okay, so that's factorization, and we're going to get some practice of that on the next worksheet. So the final step here is just to divide both sides by this term here, the 5h squared minus 1. So if we have y minus b minus a minus 3 divided by 5h squared minus 1 equals x, because we've divided both sides by the 5h squared minus 1. Okay, let's have a look at question 2g. Do I mean 2g? Yes, I do. So this one looks kind of complicated. 1 over x minus a plus 1 over y minus b equals 3t squared. Okay, so this looks complicated, but let's think about what we need to do in total. Is we need to get this term by itself, then we need to get the x term up at the top, and then we need to deal with the fact that it's x minus a. So it's like 3 steps here. And one way we can think about this, we can break it down. This is really just, even though they're quite complicated, but for this first bit, this is really like a plus b equals c. It's just that a is 1 over x minus a, b is 1 over y minus b, and c is 3t squared. A bit more complicated. But if we want to get rid of this, to make this x by itself, we can just subtract it. If we subtract it off both sides, then we cancel it on here and we move it over here, basically. So let's do that. So we have 1 for x minus a equals 3t squared minus 1 over y minus b. Okay, so we've just taken it off both sides. It means we've cancelled it out off this side, and it's basically moved over here. So now we've achieved our first thing. We've got this thing by itself, and so we can concentrate a bit on that. And we're not going to need to worry about this anymore. So let's just put this in brackets, because we don't need to do anything about it. Okay, now we need to move this x up so that it's in the numerator. And one way we can do that is multiply both sides by this x minus a. And that would cancel out this x minus a here, and just make it appear up here effectively. So that then becomes 1 equals x minus a times 3t squared 1 over y minus b. Okay, so now we can get rid of this term on this side by dividing both sides by it. 1 over 3t squared minus 1 over y minus b equals x minus a. And then, so we've cancelled this out because we divided both sides by this whole thing. Okay, even though it's complicated, this is effectively, c equals a times b, something like that. Okay, anyway, so it's the terms are just really complicated, but we just treat this as a whole. Okay, so the last thing to do to get x by itself is we add a to both sides. So let's just do that. So that becomes a plus that equals x. So that's how that one is done. Okay, I think we'll leave it at that.